Alright guys, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be working on adapting the Honda's subframe to fit into the TSX wagon. The primary thing I'm going to be doing is replacing the rack and pinion assembly, as well as the sway bar end links and the sway bar bushings, and finally the subframe bushings as well. First thing I did was work on the sway bar bushings. Something to keep in mind is orientation of the bushings. There is a front and back portion to them, so just be cognizant of the bushings that you are removing so that when you're installing the new ones, they are in the correct orientation. Part of this swap is removing also the sway bar end links, which is basically the connection between the sway bar and the steering knuckle. Like I said, I just wanted to refresh everything on this car so it feels nice and tight to drive. It's a good idea to clean up as you go. There's 200,000 miles worth of dust and debris on the subframe, so you see me cleaning the subframe, which I will end up painting later on. One thing I wish I had done while I was replacing these bushings and sway bar end links is doing them one by one and not removing them all in one shot, because making sure that the sway bar was centered was not super easy. There's no marking on the sway bar itself indicating where the bushing should go. I chose to work on the subframe while it's still outside of the car just because it's a lot easier. You have access to it from all around, and it's just generally easier to work with. Here I'm comparing the old parts with the new parts. The sway bar end links are side specific, so it's important that you put the driver's side on the driver's side and the passenger side on the passenger side. That is one more reason why with this kind of project it's simpler to do every part one by one as opposed to removing it all in one shot and then trying to figure out where the new stuff goes. Something to keep in mind also when you're installing, don't tighten anything until you're sure everything fits. So loosely install bolts, nuts, what have you, until everything is final, everything's sitting comfortably, then go ahead and tighten everything up. What I'm doing now is using a clamp to get the sway bar bushings on. Because they're new and it's a little bit cold in the garage, they're a little bit hard to work with, which is why I used the clamp. It didn't take a lot of force and it just clamped right on. I'm not tightening the bolts here, I'm just using the impact to drive them in up until they're snug, and I'll tighten them later with hand tools. You see me playing around with the sway bar, making sure that it's sitting comfortably, and then I chose to tighten it by hand. For tightening something that I'm not familiar with, I prefer to do it by hand just because it's a little bit easier to feel how tight it is. I don't like using an impact wrench to tighten something that I'm not used to, even if it can tolerate the impact wrench, just because it can risk damaging something. And then once things are tight, you can use a torque wrench to get them exactly to spec if you would like. The new rack and pinion did not come with its own hoses, so I had to transfer all the old hoses from the old rack and pinion and install them into the new ones. They looked like they were in good condition, so I didn't mind reusing them. They're also very expensive, to be honest, so I opted not to change them. For these bolts, I didn't mind tightening them up with the impact wrench because they threaded really easily and it felt really comfortable. I didn't see any point in doing with hand tools, so why not use a shortcut when you have one?
Another thing that I had to transfer over is the piece that connects the rack and pinion to the steering column, the actual thing that engages with the steering column spline.
Working on the subframe bushings was a little bit tricky, which is one of the reasons I'm grateful that I decided to do this outside of the car. I had to use a combination of clamps and shims to get it lined up and pushed in. I think I might have lightly greased it as well, just to help it slide in a little bit easier.
It's very important to remain as organized as possible when you're working on projects like this. An example is these subframe bushings. The front ones and the rear ones come with different length bolts, which is why you see me putting the bolts in place so that I don't lose track of which bolt goes where. And right before I install the subframe, I obviously remove the bolts so that I can install them from the underside where they belong. As you can see, the subframe bushings are not that hard to install with the subframe out of the car. Just clean the area, line up the bushing as much as you can, and using a clamp plus some sort of bearing plate, I used the old bushing materials, you can quickly clamp the bushings in place.
Now that the rack and pinion, sway bar bushings, and the subframe bushings are done, it's time to put them into the TSX wagon. One thing to keep in mind, the control arms and the steering knuckles do add a significant amount of weight. The reason I still have mine on was I didn't want to forget where they belonged, even though they're identical. I should have just removed them, but it is what it is. Now, installing the subframe is ideally a two-man job because you have to guide the rack and pinion through the firewall to attach it to the steering column, and that can be tricky, which is why the way I did it, I propped the front of the subframe on a crate, and then I used the jack in the back of the subframe to lift it slowly and guide it. Honestly, I got very lucky. Getting that rack and pinion to engage with the steering knuckle was potentially extremely tricky. Somehow I got lucky, and it only took me 2 tries to get it to get the splines to line up, and they went in, and I was able to lift the back of the subframe up all the way up against the car, insert the bolts, and then do the same to the front. So this is the second try I was talking about, where I'm slowly lifting the back of the subframe, and you can see the rack and pinion going through the firewall. At this point, I think it was already engaged and I was just putting in the bolts. Yep, there you go. Now I'm lifting the other side. The crate is removed. There you go. You just see everything sliding in. And the other crate is loose, which means all bolts are in and secured. Last thing I have to do is just double check that the rack and pinion went through the firewall correctly, making sure the rubber boot fits properly. Here's a close-up view. That's the rack and pinion where it engages into the firewall, and the boot goes over it. The notches all fit, everything is good to go. I'm very happy with how it came out overall, especially considering that I did it on my own, and it could have gotten so much worse. What's really cool about the swap so far has been a one-for-one swap where not a whole lot of modifications are necessary. The one clear difference is the actual rack and pinion. In the TSX, it's electronic. With the Accord, it was hydraulic, which is what I prefer, and that's why I decided to convert the TSX from electronic power steering to hydraulic power steering. The reason I opted to go for hydraulic is number one, it's personal preference, and number two, the V6 comes with the power steering pump attached, and I don't really want to mess around with the engine at this point. I'm trying to install it as stock as possible, so I just have to figure out what to do with the wires, which you will see on another episode.